going to Lambeau to face the Packers. They just added Micah Parsons this past week. Obviously, that has catapulted the expectations. But, people are talking about the Packers like they're, a Super Bowl favorite now. I think independent of Micah Parsons and what he was able to bring, they subtracted Kenny Clark, who was not the player that Micah Parsons is, but he was definitely a solid run stopper. So that adds new problems for the Packers defense. And it doesn't do anything about the questions that I have for the Packers offense and Jordan Love as a player. The Lions historically under Dan Campbell have been great at Lambeau. I think they've won the past 3 seasons. I think they've won all 3 of their past road games at Lambeau Field, which is kind of unheard of for opponents of the Packers. So I think this, and they haven't changed their personnel much, their core personnel. So I think if there were a team that would be able to knock off this Packers team right away, it would be the Lions. So give me the Lions in this game with a crucial Jordan Love turnover, because I think that in order for the Packers to lose, it's going to have to be Jordan Love that beats them, trying to do too much at quarterback. But I think he's very susceptible to do that. So I'm predicting a critical Jordan Love turnover towards the end of the game. The Lions will have kept themselves in the game with their run game, with their ability to just kind of coast on offense with the talent that they have. I think Johnny Morton's going to have a decent amount of a learning curve just based on the talent that he's got along that offense with Montgomery, Gibbs, St. Brown, Laporta. The offense is unchanged and Jared Goff distributing the ball. I like the Lions in this one just based on their most recent success. And then, it's going to take a minute for the Packers to become the team that everyone expects now that they've got Mike Parsons. What are your thoughts, Christian?
Yeah, I would agree with you right now. I'm going to stick with the Detroit run game until I see otherwise. I do think Green Bay is a little banged up still. Nate Hobbs, I don't know if he's going to play this week. I don't know if Micah's going to play, but he might be limited. He does have a stress fracture or something like that in his back. But he's going to try and take an epidural, I think, to play. And then no Jaden Reed. I think Jaden Reed's their second best receiver as of right now. And going forward, if they're going to have some success this year. So with that being said, I do like the offseason that Terrion Arnold had. I do think him and now you're going to have DJ Reed, who you could say was an upgrade. The contract is definitely an upgrade to Carlton Davis and what he got. So that defense and that secondary is really elite. So I don't really see much of an option for the Green Bay Packers to succeed outside of the run game. So if the Lions can key in on that run game, I don't see how Green Bay wins this football game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I largely agree with that. I mean, I think we talked about it on the NFC preview last pod about the lack of playmakers for Green Bay. Really, like over the course of the whole season, if Josh Jacobs is able to stay healthy, I think that's probably the most important thing for Green Bay, because outside of Josh Jacobs, they don't have a whole ton. I mean, Tucker Kraft's a solid tight end, but receiver room, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. Your Matthew Golden is arguably their best receiver, and he hasn't played an NFL snap yet. So I can only look to the Lions here. I think they're, from top to bottom, a better defense than what Green Bay is working with, given the injuries in the secondary for Green Bay. And I think the Lions are much better offensively from top to bottom. So I listen. I think it's at Green Bay. So you're essentially saying on a neutral that the Lions are 3.5 points better than Green Bay, and that sounds about right to me. Possibly more, depending on the health of a lot of people for Green Bay. So I can only look to the Lions here.
Yeah, honestly, my best bet for this one would be Lions money line. I think there's still a lot of questions coming out of Green Bay. I mean, they do have a good defense, adding Micah Parsons, but I mean, what's gonna play down to it is Jordan Love's thumb healthy? I mean, since we had heard of the injury, he was 1-4 against the spread, and straight up when he was dealing with this injury. I don't think there's going to be much of a downtick in production. Well, not as much. I mean, I'm sure it will be visible. I'm sure it'll be interesting to see, how they are going to play, without Ben Johnson back there calling plays, a whole new offensive coordinator. But you still have the same weapons that you had. I don't think Micah Parsons absolutely changes this defense for them. I like it. I like the over in this game. I think it'll probably be close to a 30 to 25 game, 27-23. But no, I like the Lions coming in there. Packers are getting the home juice, but no, Aiden Hutchinson is coming back, pissed off, ready to go. Give me the Lions and give me honestly, I like the Packers under. I think that the Lions defense comes out and makes a statement for this. So maybe scratch the over, but I like Lions winning it and Packers under at 20.5.
Wow, we are not going to make very many Packers fans in this pod
have we ever catered to the Packers
have
fans?
We ever?
That's true. Hey, we're catering to the Packers fans right now. We clearly have no bias based on Christian's hoodie that he's wearing right now. Okay, he wants to shout out the Packers O-line. They do have a good O-line.
They have.
The problem is your O-line can't.
It's an all-black offensive line. I just want to point that out, with the exception of one player.
What can I even say then to that? I can't disparage
It's
the
just
offensive
cool.
line. Say that.
It's just cool.
No, I agree. I do think that they have. I really like the Packers' offensive line. But what I was going to say was that offensive line can't help you when your quarterback has questionable decision making, which we haven't affirmatively seen from Jordan Love that he can get that under control. So until I see that, I'm going to be betting against the Packers in these big games, in these games that, the Packers did a lot of bum slaying last year, but when it came down to the games that mattered, they really, were unsuccessful for the most part. And in one game, in one divisional game, relied on a missed penalty call on a blocked field goal to not get swept in the division. So I still think everyone needs to take a big old breath on the Packers and before we put them in the Super Bowl conversation just yet. But I do think Micah Parsons is going to be an X factor for them this season, especially as the season goes on. But I don't think it's going to be enough for this week.
Given how.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, and that's the other factor as well. Yeah, anytime you have to give a guy an epidural shot.
And Stafford, but Stafford's 30 billion years old and Micah's 25.
And Micah's getting paid $30 billion now, and you're going to have to be giving him epidural shots for each game. It's kind of a concern for your young pass